So my name's Charlie Kiley, I'm 26 years old and I was born in Surrey and lived there most of my life. So I first started using Brain in Hand about 3 months ago and I got it through Access to Work. Growing up I was undiagnosed, but it was when I went to university and struggled that I found out I was neurodivergent. So in my second year I received a dyslexia and dyspraxia diagnosis, and then on from there it was kind of a spiral and went on for other referrals, and then also found out that I'm autistic and have ADHD as well. Some of the main difficulties I experienced before using Brain in Hand was around unplanned changes and how that impacted my daily life, especially for work. When I was first starting my new job, I was feeling kind of very overwhelmed from the transition, so I went from working full-time in person to working remotely. So both through the coaching sessions that I have with Brain in Hand, but also through using the service, the app itself, I found that really useful to be able to help reset my routine and calm myself down to not lead to more kind of autistic burnout or more meltdowns. And in addition to that, public transport has been one of the big things. Where I live is very remote, so when I do have to go anywhere, I do need to use public transport beyond getting to a station or anywhere. So when I don't use Brain in Hand, or when I haven't had it previously, I wouldn't be able to do that by myself. I am able to now use public transport by myself if I have Brain in Hand to support me, because I know that I have that process and kind of support plan of how I'll act in that situation if I do struggle. I have tried a lot of different kind of therapy and coaching in the past. Before I knew I had autism or I had ADHD, I had been given lots of years of CBT, DBT, talking therapy, and none of those worked for me because they were so centered on how do we change the behaviors and stop you having these behaviors, rather than how do we support you in these behaviors are going to happen because they're not something you can get rid of. What are the steps that we can actually do to help you live a better life and be more independent while acknowledging that these exist? It's not about how do we stop these traits, how do we stop you doing this, but actually how do we work with these traits and these experiences and help you still be able to do the things that you want to do and achieve. In terms of how Brain in Hand's helped me with challenges in my working life, it's helped me figure out better ways of communicating as well with my team who aren't neurodivergent. Using Brain in Hand has helped me identify more clearly the challenges that I'm experiencing, which allows me to explain that in a way to them that they understand, that maybe previously I knew that I was overwhelmed or I knew that it caused a meltdown, but I didn't have the words to express what those kind of stages or triggers were to get me to that point. So it's allowed me to kind of look at it more holistically, to be able to convey that to my team members so that they can understand how to support me and what things I may or may not be able to do, with the understanding of why that is, rather than just them, oh, you're autistic, you can't do it, but actually the specific traits and things that cause me to have distress more than that. For tracking my kind of daily needs when interacting with the product, it's using the traffic light system, which I find really helpful as it kind of simplifies how I'm describing it. As part of my autism, I experienced quite a strong alexithymia of not being able to describe my emotions, so having that support of regularly being asked how I'm feeling, I found really helpful to kind of track my emotions, but also be more aware and preempt when I might experience a meltdown due to what I'm doing in that day. Brain in Hand has helped a lot in terms of emotional stability, in terms of, one, I would say being more aware of the emotions that I'm feeling, but also just in terms of independence. Previously I've experienced periods of agoraphobia, of not being able to go out, so even just being able to leave the house by myself and go for walks or run small errands and do things by myself, that's had a positive impact on my well-being and mental health as a result of being able to be more independent. In terms of my coaching sessions, the things that I find most valuable and enjoyable, being able to come and be open about my experiences and not feel like I'm going to be judged for them or expected to kind of justify why I act the way I do or why I experience the distress I do, because there's an acknowledgement and understanding of the kind of spectrum of experiences that we all have. And then linked to that, I think for me the most valuable thing with my coaching is how I then implement that in my life, and how that helps me kind of look at my goals and aspirations differently, in not holding myself to kind of the standards that I was held to for all my life, and be able to kind of disregard that and then focus on what actually is achievable for me and what actually is my aim, rather than what other people expect of me.